everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Nonprofit Podcast, where we are trying to create a platform for nonprofit leaders to mastermind among each other. Today, I have a very special guest here, Adam Joyner, who is the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club in Ottawa, which has 100 years of history. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you so much, Cherry. I really appreciate being here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your history with the club and how you become the executive director of the club.
Yeah, it's been a journey and a half, and I'm so grateful to have it. I started when I was 9 at the club, so I was a member playing hockey, ball hockey, actually. And the first time I went to the club, I walked in and I was there for 15 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. I don't know exactly, but I was petrified. My parents had moved a bunch of times before that, and I didn't really have a place. I didn't know where I was going. And frankly, was really scared. I was scared to enter the space as a kid. And, it took me a few times, like 2 or 3 times, to be able to actually be there. And the reason I stayed the 3rd or 4th time or whatever it was because one of the staff members came to me and said, hey, do you want to play ball hockey? And I was like, yes, please. I would love to play ball hockey. And I stayed for like 40 minutes. And I was so proud of being 40 minutes at the club. And I went home to my mom, and it was this huge, fun, amazing moment of, you know what, I found a place. And, the next day I stayed for an hour and then 2 hours, and then I never really left. It became my place. It became my second home. And so I started working for the club at a young age, and I've worked for other organizations as well, and I'm very proud of my career. But now I'm the CEO of the club, and I've been able to work in basically every job at every location in our city, including our camp as a camp counselor. And the memories I have walking into this place are the same memories a lot of our alumni have. Where it's a beautiful place that really helps a lot of kids in our city.
Well, you've obviously done an amazing job because you've won the 40 under 40, and in 2023, so not too long ago, you just received when I say just, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use the term just, but you did receive the Changing Lives Award from the Algonquin College as well. So you're making a huge impact serving as the executive director there. And you definitely have this very unique angle because you were the member of the club to begin with. You've used all the services, and then now you've worked in all the roles before you become the executive director. How long have you been the executive director of the organization?
So I started May 2020, and it was obviously a very trying time, right in the middle of the pandemic, and it's also such an exciting ride to get to this point. So. We've had some ups and downs, and we can talk about those later. But overall, now getting back to some normalcy and really trying to do the job the way that it should be done post-pandemic. I know there's still issues around that, but just trying to really connect with our youth and our families the way that we love to do has been a huge gift. So it's been 5+ years now, I guess. It feels like longer, but it's also been like a minute. Every day feels very short. But I love it so much, and it's such a fun place to work, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
You have a very positive outlook in life. I could just tell from the brief conversation that we have had.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, because nobody is always happy and positive all the time.
Yeah.
And so how do you overcome when there are challenges, particularly with your role as the executive director? You are the CEO, you are the boss of the entire organization. When people come to you, they have issues that you yourself are feeling helpless. Tell us how you handle all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's super challenging. I mean, you feel responsible for people, and you feel you care. And if you don't care, if you stop caring, then maybe that's when it's time to think about something else to do, right? And frankly, the people in our sector generally don't stop caring, no matter what. And we're very caring people. We care for others. We want to help others. We want to support others. We want to bring others we want to bring kids, families, parents, people who are, struggling. We want to support them to be whoever they want to be. And it's really hard when you can't do everything you want. And so, those challenges really impact and they really hurt and they're really challenging for all leaders. And, from frontline up to the ED or CEO of an organization. And we have faced those. We have faced those challenges, and they're not easy to face.
So I understand that obviously not everyone, but in today's day and age, with the government being very conscious in terms of giving away their money for social community services, I guess the question is, have you and the club ever faced the fundraising challenges or grant application challenges, and how did you handle those challenges?
Yeah, I think those are live challenges right now. And I think, frankly, a lot of organizations and charitable partners in our city are facing them. We fundraise 90% of our funding comes from fundraising for our in-club programming. So, yeah, and that has been what BGC has been built on for the last 100 years. And, frankly, without the funding that we get from private supporters and from our donors and sponsors, we would not be here today. There is no question the club would not be where it is today if it wasn't for those people. And we couldn't be more grateful for that support. It does always bring a challenge because at the end of the day, there are thousands and thousands of kids that need a place like the club. It doesn't have to be the club, but we are one of the main places that kids can go and feel supported and safe and build on the opportunities that they want in life. And we would love to serve more kids in our community. But frankly, it really does come down to funding. And, when we're fundraising 90% of our budget for our programs, that is really hard. That's hard for donors. That's hard for the community.
How do you, now I'm a technical person, but how do you, technically, how do you, or what do you do to maintain that flow? Because honestly, I mean, right now it's February. When we have this interview, it is beginning of the year. We are all starting from scratch again. Yeah, maybe your year end is different, but pretty much feels like it's like, well, it's the beginning of the year. We're starting from zero again. So how do you ensure that sustainability? Do you have an email list? How do you do you have someone that works in fundraising activities full time and that put focus on it? How do you balance that?
Yeah, we have an amazing fundraising team for sure. And they have to work really hard to make sure that we meet the goals every year. We run 2 really cool events every year, amazing events, I would say. I love our events. Maybe I'm biased. I am biased. But we run a morning social, which is in May 14th. And then we run a gala at the end of August. And so those 2 fundraising events are amazing. And I love the feeling of both of them. They're very different and unique. One's an outdoor venue and it's a lot of fun. And then the other's a breakfast. So the morning social that's coming up on May 14th is really just an opportunity for people to connect to the club. And we have, 400 to 500 guests that come.
Oh, wow.
It's a huge event in our city and it really engages young people. We have young people that come to it. We have videos. It's just an amazing opportunity. And then it's also the direct donors and supporters of the club. So outside of those 2 events, it's all of that work from the folks that, our monthly giving program, which we're trying to grow, which may be $20, $10 a month, to the people that give hundreds of thousands of dollars to what we do. That is how we survive. If it wasn't for those people every day thinking about us, whether it's through that monthly donation or through the annual gift or through a major gift or a naming or whatever we're doing, those are the people that keep the club alive. And I couldn't be more grateful for them.
So basically, consistent effort has been given into all these areas. Obviously, the amazing events that you're hosting as a signature and staples in Ottawa, but also the constant update with the donor and constant communication with the donor to keep up that relationship that's helping everyone so that they can see what they are donating to. Sometimes when I do donation as well, like you kind of donate it to a black hole. You really don't know
Yeah.
what comes out of on the
Right.
other side. And it's like we're at least in my business, we're choosing to donate directly to the school for boots and like jackets in the winter time.
Amazing.
And but even when we do those donation and directly deliver it to the school's office, you don't see anyone except like maybe the office
Right.
people. So we don't get feedback, and then we get like lost. So you guys must be doing an amazing job communicating what the impact is to these
We're
donors.
trying to. We're trying to. I think, anytime anybody wants to come for a tour of the club, we love it. Like, just
Yeah,
come and see what we do. Come and see
yeah,
the kids in action.
yeah.
Go and join a game, right? Be part of something. Help out with the healthy snack.
Yeah.
If you have musical talent, go and play in our music studios. If you want,
Love it.
teach kids. This is an environment that is built on inclusivity and support. And so that includes all of our community. And so we try our best to bring people into the club. So if we have a major donor that doesn't really know what we do, but really helps and really wants to support, well, come on a tour. Let's go and see. Like, you can be part of this. And frankly, some of our board of directors are regular volunteers at the club and come on a regular basis and support what we do in a very intrinsic and real way. And I think a lot of charities, frankly, try very hard to do just that. And we're not perfect. We do our best, but we're not perfect. And I think if you're giving to an organization, their heart is to let you have that experience. And we really do try. But with the team we have, sometimes we have misses. We don't get everybody in that we want to do, and we don't get to do everything we want to have people experience. But the heart of it is that people here in Ottawa care, and they care greatly, whether it's us or it's somebody else. I am very, very proud to live and work in this city and to be in a charity around so many other amazing charities that really try to have that experience, give that experience to others so they understand why they're giving. And more importantly, so that they become part of the fabric of why they're giving. I think that is the beautiful thing that we have to get to in our city.
I think you brought out a couple of important points, like that confirming that feedback loop is super important and bring them in to experience the impact of the work the organization is doing is 100% a priority. And then you also mentioned, which I sometimes I find is harder for organizations when maybe they were not as intentional in terms of recruitment of board members. Some of the board members just think that this is just another thing that they need to do. They're not really connected to the cause. So then they don't know what they're doing and why they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the board members we have really genuinely care about what we do. And I think a lot of people sign up for being on a board in terms of from a charitable perspective, trying to support what they believe in. And frankly, I would say the same thing about every volunteer that comes into our locations. And I would say any organization, it's in the fabric of who they are. And I think that one of the best things you can teach kids is to give back the way that you were given to.
That's amazing. Now, going a little bit deeper about your challenges, you mentioned earlier in our call earlier that you had to the organization had to go through some service cut in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that impact you? And how bad was that particular challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough. It was devastating. It's hard to have to make changes that you don't want to make, right? Because, I think it's different if you run something, right? You're running a business and you try to sell something and no matter much, no one wants to buy what you're selling. Yeah. With our business, everybody wants what we're doing. Like, we have more kids, we have more need. And what stopped us from growing is revenue. And, you know, that is really tough. And you add that layer on to the fact that you have to make a change, a massive change. We had to cut roughly 25% of our service in 2023, which was really tough on our community. It meant closing a full location, a satellite that we were running, which was devastating, frankly. It was very hard to do. And then jobs, full-time and part-time. And you know, these are the fabric. This is the fabric of what the club is the people that work in our clubs. The people that I worked with as a kid, they're still my mentors today. And, you know, to see anybody have to leave the club in a way that we weren't excited about, that they were moving on to a new job or new experience like that, we're always happy about. But in this case, it was really tough and really impactful on our team. So yeah, not easy.
100%. So how did the organization come to the conclusion that, hey, like 25%? So essentially the way that I see it is that we have the fundraising team doing an amazing job. And now but on the other side, we have to cut 25%. So you did some forecasts, I imagine, that you see that like it's not sustainable the way it has been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we saw inflation increasing at a massive pressure. Like, you know, our food budget tripled, our programming expenses, and our service level didn't grow. And you know, when you're seeing, you know, people struggling at that level, it's really tough, right? And so so we had to make a decision based on how do we make sure the club is here for the next 100 years for kids in our community, right? And it was not an easy decision. It was very, very difficult. The flip to that is the donors that we had at that point stayed with us and supported us through that change. And it was not an easy change. And, you know, now we're starting to build back from that. But it's been a journey for sure to get from where we were to where we are now.
Yes. Well, I mean, as an executive director as well, you also have to let go with like some staff that are also extremely helpful in delivering program, and that in itself is challenging because you know they are great people, and then all of a sudden you turn around, even though they're great people, we need those services, we still have to say, hey, I'm sorry, we can't use your service right now, and that's just challenging.
Yeah, and you have to make decisions around communities that really need help, and
Yeah.
you know, it comes down to how much we can bring in, and you know, our communities, this city needs clubs. They need places like clubs. And when you have to make a decision that isn't based on the need, you know, if we were seeing 5 kids a week at a location, or no, our city needs places like BGC. And my hope is in the future, every community that needs a place like us has it. And right now, we can't say that. We need to be in more places, and we need to help more kids.
But you are making changes, like huge change, because you're starting to have social enterprise. Tell us a little bit about your social enterprise.
For sure. So our goal right now is around sustainability. And, you know, we talked about fundraising. We talked about the importance of it. We talked about, you know, what the club brings to our community. And what we didn't really talk about was the social enterprise side of it, right? So we have 4 amazing clubs in our city and an overnight camp, Camp Smitty. And we have a lot of opportunities, especially in the daytime, to rent our spaces. We have spaces for kitchens. We have multi-purpose rooms. We have potential boardrooms. We have gyms. We have all these amazing spaces, and we would love to see them filled with people. My dream is to walk into the club at 6 a.m. and have the building filled with people, and have that building filled no matter what time, and have people use our spaces fully. And because the need for what happens when you rent from a place like the club is you're not just renting and it going away. That money then goes back directly to what we do in the evening and afternoons and weekends to our kids. So very much would love to see our buildings filled to the brim all the time. Rentals, we do all types of rentals all the time. Our camp, we have reunions, we have different events happening. I got married up at camp. That was, as
Oh my God.
20 years ago. It's a beautiful place, and would love for people to access our spaces more. And so if that's of any interest to anyone out there, we certainly would welcome it.
So can I ask if the social enterprise portion of BGC helping in terms of revenue wise? How much are they contributing?
Yeah, so it's offsetting about $1 million of expenses. That would be that would be the number. Frankly, I would love to see it offset $2 million of expenses, right? Like it'd be great to have our buildings filled all the time. And if we had that, that would mean that we could use that revenue to offset expenses and create more opportunities for kids. So, we have a beautiful log home that people can rent up at Camp Smitty. There's a lot of opportunities for people to really explore being part of BGC. And I will say, once you get part of this place, it's really hard to leave. You can ask any of our previous board members, current board members, our volunteers. It's a place that you really fall in love with the Boys and Girls Club.
I love it. I love that. I also want to, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I want to bring this message that you share with me, this line that distinguish between what BGC is or a nonprofit, a nonprofit organization versus a for-profit organization. You did mention that, and maybe you can add to it because I don't know if I can explain it nearly as well as you do. You mentioned that a business, every time a customer comes in, you would be able to service that customer and you make money. But with BGC or any nonprofit out there, when a customer comes in, you want to serve more customer. But every time a customer comes in, you are also adding to the stress of fundraising and revenue and everything else.
Well, you did a great job on that, Cherry. I don't know if I can add to that, but yes, that's and I did. That's not something that came to me just uniquely. That was something that a board member in the past had said to us, and I spent time thinking about that, and it's so right. And I think when you look at the impacts in our society, in our world, right? When there's an earthquake in Haiti, when there's a refugee crisis. When there's something happening, what's happening in the world today, the impacts of that are felt first by the charities that serve our community, not just in Ottawa, but across our country and across the world. And so the challenge is this: those pressures that come, those challenges that we face, those are faced with the same amount of support and revenue as if they didn't happen. And so when there's a challenge in our society, in a charity, we don't have the ability to increase revenue automatically. It comes after, when you can connect to supporters and sponsors to say, by the way, this is happening in our world. How can you support it? Right. So it's a different dynamic. When we have a new person come into the club, wherever they're coming from, they need support. They need love. Our children and youth in our society are facing a lot of issues. Educational gaps, massive educational gaps, mental health issues, challenges with isolation from the pandemic. There's so many things. But a new person coming into our club does not mean new revenue. It means an expense from a business. And if you're running your local store, the more people that walk into that store, right, the more revenue you're going to make. With us, we see kids as an opportunity for them to be whoever they want to be. But there's an expense to that. And society and the club has to pay for it. And so our hope is to get to a point that people recognize the club as an intrinsic part of their community and the future of all of us, frankly. We're sitting here right now talking, and someday, at some point, there's going to be other youth that are going to take our spot, and I want them to be ready and successful. And my real dream one day is sorry
Take your time.
is for all youth in our city to be whoever they want to be, and really someone to be me. I think the best thing you can do is to create a space for someone to become better than who you are. And, that's going to take all of us.
Thank you so much, Adam. This is very, very powerful here. What you've shared and what you are doing is also very powerful, trying to create something long-term sustainable beyond the current 100 years. There will be another 100 years coming, and you will be helping way more youth than you could ever imagine by laying down all these. To me, it's like all these little rocks that need to get to your goal. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Really appreciate the conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
As we wrap up, I want to share a bit more about what we do at Otis Financial Solutions. For the past 18 years, Otis Financial Solutions has been dedicated to enhancing the financial management and strategic planning capabilities of hundreds of associations and nonprofits across Canada. Our extensive experience has enabled us to deliver tailored financial solutions that drive growth and enhance sustainability for nonprofits and associations. If you are interested in learning more about how Otis Financial Solutions can support your organization, I would love to offer you a no obligation 20-minute call. Let's discuss your unique challenges and explore how we would be able to help you achieve your goals.